Huwag yung kayong magkadisgrasyahan tayo niyan. Sinasabi ko madidisgrasya kayo. At madidisgrasya kayo. Hindi ako urong dito. And I said, I would stake my honor, my life, and even the presidency.
Cluster and Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster, we ask for guidance in serving the nation. Grant us the wisdom to use our resources well, the courage to represent all members of the society fairly, and the will to make decisions that promote the common good. Through your direction, we recognize our responsibilities and the rights and needs of both individuals and the society. As trusted servants, we seek blessings in your deliberation and on our efforts here today. We ask for enlightenment so we may act wisely and well. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, telos ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y umay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiging, sa manlulupi, kita masisingin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit o baka, ay nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang tinamaan, ang isot ng watawat mo'y nagumpay na nagigingin, ang bituin ng araw niya kailan pang ay magdidilim, yung palang araw ng maraming pagsik na buhay namin sa likod. Aming ligaya naman may mamagin, ang namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
You may now be seated. Today, the government, under the leadership of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, brings the public a platform where relevant milestones can be shared to the citizens. The Office of the Cabinet Secretary and the Presidential Communications Operations Office bring you Tatak ng Pagbabago, a pre-SONA 2018 forum. This initiative covers the policies and programs of the cabinet clusters that supports our President's vision of a comfortable life for every Filipino. To facilitate today's program, we are pleased to have FOI Program Director and PCOO Assistant Secretary for Policy and Special Concerns, Assistant Secretary Christian Ablan.
Cabinet Secretary June Evasco Jr., Department of Interior and Local Government OIC Undersecretary Eduardo Anyo, Chairperson of the Participatory Governance Cabinet Cluster, Department of Social Welfare and Development Acting Secretary Virginia Orogo, Chairperson of the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cabinet Cluster, Cabinet members of the Participatory Governance and Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cabinet Clusters, our partners from the private sector, civil society, friends from the media and social media, esteemed guests, my fellow colleagues in government, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to Tatak ng Malasakit at Pagkakaisa, the second of 3 forums in the Tatak ng Pagbabago pre-SONA 2018 series. During the first State of the Nation address of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, he underscored the importance of government working side by side with the Filipino people in order to attain true and meaningful change. The following year, the President's SONA revealed the plans and programs that will serve as the government's blueprint for his vision for the country's bright future. As we count the days leading to the President's third State of the Nation address, we look back with renewed optimism as the building blocks that were discussed in the first 2 SONAs have concretized the changes that President Duterte vowed to achieve from day one of his administration. In less than 3 years, the government has introduced one welcome change after another that has significantly improved the lives of millions of Filipinos. In altering people's lives for the better, the government has achieved more than enough tatak ng pagbabago or proof of changes in unprecedented fashion. So what exactly are these significant changes? We will discuss these and more in these weekly forums leading up to SONA on July 23. Through this series of events, we in government will not only report on what we have accomplished so far and reveal what we intend to further achieve in the coming years, we will also discuss how this will impact your lives. Last week, we had the PRE-SONA forum of the Economic Development Cluster and the Infrastructure Cluster. This series of dialogues is part of our mandate as government of the people. In order to attain our shared vision for a better tomorrow, we intend to deliver the vital government services as well as to further enhance these services with constant consultations with you, our stakeholders. Today, we bear witness to the fruits of another year of strong and decisive leadership that has once again benefited the Filipino people. The Office of the Cabinet Secretary, the Office of the Executive Secretary, the Office of the Special Assistant to the President, the Presidential Management Staff, and PCOO are proud to showcase to you the accomplishments of the Participatory Governance Cluster as well as the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cabinet Cluster. These are the tatak ng malasakit at pagkakaisa or proof of compassion and unity. Hopefully, you will all leave today's forum knowing more about government services available for you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve and for your unceasing support to work with us for a better Philippines. Mabuhay and good morning once again.
Sa loob ng 2 taon na pamumuno ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, ay marami na tayong naranasan na tagumpay at pagbabago. Sa kanyang likas na tapang, malasakit at determinasyon, malinaw na siya ang makapaghahatid ng tunay na pagbabago sa ating mga Pilipino. Upang matupad ang mga layunin at hangarin ng ating administrasyon, kaakibat na ating Pangulo ang iba't ibang cabinet clusters sa paghahatid ng pagbabago. Sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon, ipinagkaloob ng administrasyon sa taong bayan ang PRE-SONA Fora kung saan ilalahad ng cabinet clusters ang kani-kanilang mga patakaran, proyekto at programa sa ilalim ng Administrasyong Duterte. Job opportunities, public transportation, business and agricultural growth at infrastructure projects. Mahalaga ang modernization at innovation sa pagunlad ng isang bansa. Saklaw ang mga ito ng Economic Development Cluster at Infrastructure Cluster Forum. Ito ang tatak ng pagunlad. Ang kapakanan ng mamamayang Pilipino ay isa sa mga prioridad ng ating administrasyon. Edukasyon, kalusugan at kabuhayan. Ito ang tatalakayin ng Participatory Governance Cluster at Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster. Ito ang tatak ng malasakit at pagkakaisa. Kaligtasan ng bawat Pilipino, kapayapaan sa bansa, pagpapanatili ng kaayusan sa ating kalikasan, kalakasan, at pag-abot ng tulong ang paksa ng clusters ng security, justice, and peace at climate change adaptation, mitigation and disaster risk reduction. Ito ang tatak ng katatagan. Dahil sa patuloy na pagsasagawa ng epektibo at mahusay ng mga patakaran, proyekto at programa ng iba't ibang clusters, tunay na naipadama sa bawat Pilipino ang tatak ng pagbabago.
Now, to give us a message and a walkthrough on the Cabinet Cluster System, let us welcome the Cabinet Secretary of the Philippines, Secretary Leoncio Evasco Jr. A warm round of applause for Secretary Evasco.
Department of Budget and Management Secretary Benjamin E. Diokno, Co-Chairperson of the Participatory Governance Cluster, Department of Interior and Local Government, OIC Secretary, Ed Anyo, Co-Chairperson of the Participatory Governance Cluster. Department of Social Welfare and Development Acting Secretary, Virginia N. Orogo. Chairperson of the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster. National Anti-Poverty Commission Secretary, Lisa Massa. Secretariat Head of the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster. Secretary Manny Piñol of the Department of Agriculture. Members of the Participatory Governance and Human Development Poverty Reduction Clusters. We have here DepEd Secretary, Ma'am Liling Briones. Chair of the Commission on Higher Education, Chair Popoy de Vera. Some representatives from the LGU throughout the country. We have here Mayor Jorim Arcangel of Jubilar, Albay, Mayor Judith Del Rosario Cajes of Trinidad, Bohol, Mayor Caroline Parinas of San Felipe, Zambales, Mayor Gia Gomez, San Juan City, Mayor William Howe, Tubigon, Bohol, Mayor Ramon Oñate, Palompon, Leyte, Mayor Antonio Oreta III, Malabon City, Mayor Diego Te, Plaridel, Misamis Occidental, partners from the private sector, friends from the media, my fellow public servants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It has been 2 years since Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte took the helm of governing and leading our country. Amidst the governance challenges of the presidency, we are grateful to the various national and local government agencies for aligning their efforts, improving their processes, and ensuring the delivery of relevant and timely services to the people with pride, honor, and dignity. We are all witness to the President's commitment to bring about change in governance and to really make the lives of every Filipino here and abroad better. During the past 2 State of the Nation addresses, the President directed my office to streamline the efforts of the bureaucracy along the development and security governance framework of this administration. Part of the innovation in the bureaucracy was to rationalize the cluster system as embodied in EO 43, series of 2011. The President signed Executive Order Number 24, series of 2017, reorganizing the cabinet cluster system to make it more responsive to the key priorities of this administration, making the following changes. First, the Human Development and Poverty Reduction, chaired by the Secretary of the Department of the Social Welfare and Development, with the National Anti-Poverty Commission as Secretary and Secretariat. The Security, Justice, and Peace Cluster used to be chaired by the Office of the Executive Secretary is now chaired by the Secretary of the National Defense, with the National Security Advisor as Secretariat. The Climate Change Adaptation Mitigation Cluster is now added with a Disaster Risk Reduction Framework, making it CCCAM DRR, chaired by the Secretary of the Department of Environment and National Resources, with Climate Change Commission as the Secretariat. The Economic Development Cluster chaired by the Secretary of the Department of Finance, with NEDA as the Secretariat. The creation of the infrastructure cluster emanated from the thrust of this administration to increase infrastructure spending from the 2% to at least 5 to 7% of the gross domestic product. The cluster is chaired by the Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways, with NEDA as the Secretariat. The above 5 clusters, taken as an aggregate initiative, is a whole of government approach. However, during the campaign, there was a massive support from the grassroots organizations and civil society. Hence, the decision to transform them to an accountability and transparency mechanism. So, the former good governance cluster, headed by the President, was converted to participatory governance cluster. The participatory governance cluster is chaired by the Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government, with the Department of Budget and Management as co-chair and secretariat. The participatory governance cluster effectively operationalized the whole of nation approach beyond rhetoric, as this became the window for civil society participation. This cluster is also consistent to the tenets of the open government partnership, of which we are an original signatory. All the 6 clusters were required to come up with their good governance framework as a cross-cutting theme. The Office of the Cabinet Secretary is the office linking all the cabinet clusters and is in charge of closely monitoring the directives and commitments of the clusters. The Performance and Project Management Office, also under the OCS, is tasked to facilitating and coordinating the implementation of the performance and projects roadmap of its cluster. These roadmaps identify the target deliverables of each cluster consistent with the Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022 and with the National Security Policy from 2017 to 2022. For his third State of the Nation address, this 2018, July 23, we have reformatted this to allow the President to speak more freely on the matters that he would like to share to the people. Meanwhile, the accomplishment of this administration from July 2017 to June 2018 will be reported in advance to the people by his cabinet clusters to the theme of the 2018 SONA, which is Tatak ng Pagbabago. Each pre-SONA forum will allow 2 clusters to report their accomplishment and will happen every week of July and will set the stage for the President's SONA on July 23. The first of these happened last week, July 6, where chairpersons of the Economic Development and Infrastructure Cabinet clusters presented their agency's accomplishment related to the priorities of the President and how their various programs are beginning to change the lives of our people. Today, the second pre-SONA forum that will be headed by the Human Development and Poverty and Participatory Cabinet clusters. The 2 clusters will showcase their respective cluster member agencies' performance in delivering results to their commitments to the President's trust and priorities. Dubbed as tatak ng malasakit at pagkakaisa, today's PRE-SONA Forum will open with a presentation of the Participatory Governance Cluster Chairperson, Secretary Ed Anyo, and will also feature the presentations of Secretary of Budget and Management Benjamin Diokno of the Participatory Governance Cluster and Acting Secretary of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Secretary Virginia N. Orogo. This will be followed by an open forum for the audience to actively participate in the discussion and the conversation. This PRE-SONA Forum is a collaborative effort of the various offices of the Office of the Executive Secretary, Office of the Special Assistant to the President, Presidential Management Staff, the Human Development and Poverty Reduction and Participatory Governance Cabinet Cluster Chairpersons, and their representative member agencies and secretariat. My profound gratitude goes to the Department of Interior and Local Government for funding this event. It is also noteworthy that Participatory Governance Cluster under OIC, Secretary Anyo and Secretary Ben is the first to come up with the cluster performance and project roadmap. As the President's partners in ensuring that real change will happen and will truly benefit the people, we request your continued support, collaboration, and participation to the administration's whole-of-nation approach towards a better Philippines for the Filipinos. Daghang salamat ug maayong buntag sa atong tanan.
May we call back on stage Secretary Evasco, as well as other panelists this morning for a group photo. May we call on Secretary Virginia Orogo of the DSWD, Secretary Francisco Duque of the DOH, Secretary Briones of the Department of Education, Undersecretary Roseler Barinaga of the National Anti-Poverty Commission, Undersecretary Gloria Mercado of the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, from the PGC, Secretary Benjamin Diokno of the Department of Budget and Management, of course, our sponsor, OIC of the DILG, Undersecretary Eduardo Anyo, Undersecretary Attorney Ryan Esteves of the PLLO, Chairman of the Commission on Higher Education, Chairman Prospero de Vera III, and Undersecretary Irenio Vismonte of the Department of Trade and Industry. All on stage, please.
Ang Participatory Governance Cluster ay isa sa 6 na pangkat ng gabinete na nabuo sa ilalim ng Executive Order 24 ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Ang mandato ng PGC ay masigurong bukas ang ating pamahalaan sa boses, boto at mga suhestyon galing sa civil society organizations at ordinaryong Pilipino tungo sa ikagaganda ng ating pagbibigay serbisyo publiko. Sa BGC, kasali ang buong sambayanan sa mga usaping pangpamahalaan. Ang PGC ay maigi ring nakikipagtulungan sa Open Government Partnership o OGP, isang global na inisyatibang nagsusulong ng advokasya tungkol sa mas bukas na pamahalaan. Ang mekanismong ito ang nagsisilbing pangunahing tulay ng gobyerno para sa makabuluhang pakikipag-ugnayan sa iba't ibang representante mula sa ating mga basihang sektor, civil society organizations, akademya, samahan ng mga manggagawa at pribadong sektor.
I'm just hopeful that the government will be able to make the difference.
There should be a part 2. So malaman natin kung ano ba yung nangyari in the past na ngayon ay mai-implement pa ba.
Layo ng Participatory Governance Cluster na ilapit ang gobyerno sa taong bayan. Tinitiyak nito na may sapat na mekanismo, programa at proyekto ang pamahalaan upang ito ay maisakatuparan. Una na dito ang pagsusulong ng mga reformang magpapaigting sa transparency at accountability ng pamahalaan, lokal man o national, upang maging responsable at responsive sa pangangailangan ng komunidad at magbigay ng sapat na impormasyon at kaalaman sa lahat. Pangalawa, pagtibayin ng citizen empowerment at public engagement sa iba't ibang larangan ng pamamahala upang marinig ang kanilang boses sa mga isyung may kinalaman sa kanilang pamumuhay. Kasama rin dito ang mekanismo kung saan maaaring i-report ang katiwalian at kapabayaan sa anumang ahensya ng gobyerno at maging sa pribadong sektor. Titiyaking maagap ang aksyon ng gobyerno sa mga ito. At pangatlo, sa pamamagitan ng hayag at participatory governance, nakakatiyak tayo na magiging epektibo ang pamahalaan sa pagbibigay ng serbisyo sa mamamayan. Hindi lamang sa larangan ng kalusugan, pabahay at iba pang pangunahing pangangailangan, kundi maging ang pagtiyak sa kahandaan sa panahon ng kalamidad. Sa lahat ng mga panukalang ito ay katuwang natin ang lokal na pamahalaan. Kung kaya't pinapalakas din natin ang kanilang kakayahang tumugon sa pangangailangan ng kanilang pinaglilingkuran. Upang matiyak epektibo ang pamahalaan, may mga sapat na panukat or performance matrix na magsasabi kung naabot nito ang standards ng isang matino, mahusay at maasahang pamamahala. Ito rin ang basihan upang lalo pang pagbutihin at itaas ang antas ng serbisyo publiko. Susulong din ng Participatory Governance Cluster ang ilang panukalang batas na higit na magpapatingkad sa pakikilahok ng tao sa pamamahala at higit na mapabilis at magsasaayos ng paglilingkod ng gobyerno sa bawat Filipino.
Ang pangakong ilapit ang gobyerno sa sambayanan ay dahan-dahan nating binigyang pangunguna ng Participatory Governance Cluster. Ang cluster na ito ay nagsisilbing daan upang higit na paigtingin ang ugnayan ng ating gobyerno sa ating mamamayang Pilipino, upang may pagpatuloy ang pag-uusap at pagbibigay ng solusyon sa mga usaping para sa lipunan at sambayanan. Dininig natin ang tinig ng karaniwang mamamayan na lubos na makakatulong sa pagpapayaman at pagpapalawig ng ating performance project roadmap. Alam namin na malaki pa ang hamong maghihintay at mga pagsubok para makamit at lubos na maisakatuparan ang hangarin ito. Kami ay lubos na nagtitiwala na kapag ang pamahalaan at mga tao ay nag-uusap at nagbubuklod, mas magiging maigting ang pagunlad at pagbabago. Binuksan na natin ang bintana sa pakikilahok at panahon na upang sabay-sabay naman nating buksan ang pintuan upang ganap na tiyakin na buhay ang partisipasyon ng mga tao sa lahat ng dako ng ating bansa. Maraming salamat po.
We will now officially commence the second Tatak ng Pagbabago PRE-SONA Forum, this time with stories of tatak ng malasakit at pagkakaisa with the Participatory Governance Cluster and Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster. So as not to delay this any further, let us start our Tatak ng Pagbabago Forum with Undersecretary Eduardo Año, the officer in charge of the Department of Interior and Local Government.
Cabinet Secretary Leoncio Basco Jr., Budget and Management Secretary Benjamin Jokno, our co-chair of the Participatory Governance Cluster, Social Welfare and Development Secretary Virginia Orogo, the chair of the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster, fellow secretaries and officials of government, undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, governors, mayors, councilors, regional directors, friends from the media, civil society organizations, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The Department of the Interior and Local Government is not new when it comes to engaging the citizenry in the fulfillment of its mandate and in developing and implementing programs and projects for LGUs. What we realized, however, is that under a president who himself consults and listens to the people, who works really hard to make them feel genuine change in their lives, we need to step up our initiatives so that the people and CSOs become more active partners in the pursuit of change in governance, especially at the local level. Allow me, therefore, to walk you through how the DILG has managed to do its share in the fulfillment of the President's change agenda with the people, and the CSOs as our able and active partners to share with you how the burden of meeting our own mandate has become lighter with them helping us out. This journey is in fact a reflection and a microcosm of what the Participatory Governance Cluster is all about, and how it aims to further engage the people along the way. When the President said in his State of the Nation address in 2017 that there is still much to be done to thoroughly eradicate the menace of illegal drugs, criminality, and corruption in the country, it was a wake-up call for everyone, not just for those in government, but for the people as well, to really band together and collectively work to erase them in our midst. It was a clarion call, too, for the department to rethink its campaign by meaningfully and deeply engaging the citizenry and making them part of the solution to these problems. Our campaign against criminality is first and foremost anchored on strengthening local institutions that are supposed to contribute to the government's drive for crime and drug-free communities, such as the People's Law Enforcement Boards, Peace and Order Councils, and Anti-Drug Abuse Councils. These are not your typical institutions composed of people from the bureaucracy. These are entities which have CSOs and private sector representatives as members, that allowed for a more comprehensive and thorough assessment of the prevailing situation and the formulation of programs that fit and rightfully address such conditions. Next is advocacy or informing the citizenry of the damage that such ills brings to their lives in our country, and giving them the platform where they can provide useful information to authorities on the existence and severity of the problem prevailing in their LGUs, including the presence of abusive and erring law enforcement officers. Through these twin initiatives, and with the information given by the public to us, we were able to step up our law enforcement drive against drug personalities, convince many others to turn a new leaf, so to speak, and to avail of the rehabilitation services that the government has in store for them. Even in addressing the plight of the drug personalities who decided to undergo rehabilitation, the spirit of people's participation was evident as the private sector offered its support that led to the construction and operation of numerous drug abuse treatment and rehabilitation centers in the country. Such dynamic partnership also led to a very positive effects on the lives of our citizens. More than half of our countrymen felt safer in 2017 as per survey conducted by the Social Weather Stations or SWS. Our drive against corruption and for good governance would not have been successful if not for the people taking part in the campaign. Our anti-corruption program has opened wide the door for the people to be informed and aware on pertinent laws and policies on corruption, to help us prevent corruption, including occurrence of ghost projects at the local level, by being part in the actual monitoring of programs and projects, making our LGUs aware that their constituents are closely watching how they use their finances and resources, and in deterring such by giving them the means to report or file complaint against corrupt local officials. One particular instance when people's participation proved very successful was on the issue of Boracay. Prior to its closure, the DILG and other agencies have conducted rounds of consultation and dialogues with the people to inform them of reasons for its closure, the steps needed for its rehabilitation, as well as to hear and address their fears and sentiments. More importantly, these dialogues allowed us to gather relevant information from concerned Boracay residents, such as the location of illegally installed pipes that discharge waste in White Beach, which we used to build up our case against several local officials in the area. Furthermore, by opening the public mechanisms to report complaints, such as the Hotline 888 and the Office of the President itself, we were able to investigate and file cases against local officials alleged to be abusive or not performing their job in accordance with their mandate. We also heeded the public's expectation that misdeeds of erring local officials should not go unpunished by serving the decision rendered by the Office of the Ombudsman from January 2017 early this month. Again, without people's cooperation, none of this would have been accomplished. The advocacy on good local governance and anti-corruption was also done year-round to underscore among local officials and ordinary Filipinos that honest, transparent, clean, and corruption-free governance is the key to the country's sustained development and improve in the lives of our people. The department likewise offered the people and CSOs opportunity and platform to assess the performance and delivery and service delivery effectiveness of the LGUs. Through the Seal of Good Local Governance, or SGLG, we partner with CSOs in determining which LGUs actually perform and are able to meet our very stringent performance metrics on areas such as financial housekeeping, disaster preparedness, social protection, and peace and order. Worth noting that in spite of the high standard set by the department for 2017, we recorded an increase in the number of LGUs that passed and were given the seal. These SGLG passers were subsequently provided the so-called Performance Challenge Fund, which I will discuss in a little while. On the other hand, through the Citizen Satisfaction Index survey, the general public managed to bring to the attention of the LGUs their strong and weak points insofar as their frontline service delivery is concerned. Using the result of the survey, the LGUs then adjusted or revisited their strategy that led to the improvement and quality of service delivery to their constituents. Our experience in making people's lives better is also worth narrating. It is one that further galvanized the partnership between the DILG and the people in making sure that their needs are met and addressed by the LGUs. Through CSO participation in the local government, in the local development councils, the people made sure that the programs and projects funded and implemented by the LGUs are the ones that they actually need and will actually alleviate their situation. This has effectively stopped the practice of government feeding the people with something they do not really need. On the other hand, numerous projects such as school and health facilities were constructed and completed through the Performance Challenge Fund, which was given to the LGU passers of the Seal of Good Local Governance. In all of this, the department made sure that the people's and the CSO's voice were heard and mattered. Indeed, their voice should be heard and their views matter because the very essence of responsive and caring government is making sure that its actions and decisions are for the benefit and welfare of the people, nothing more, nothing less. It also further strengthened our long-held belief that when people act as owners rather than mere recipients of government programs and projects, the success of government is far higher. This is because we now have partners who vigilantly and closely watch how their government, both national and local, work and help ensure that the latter act based on the people's real need. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a triumph of and for good governance, which is also the hallmark of the current administration. The narrative of participatory governance does not end with what the DILG has accomplished the past year. As we move along, we will make sure that LGUs throughout the country engage their people and communities on a regular basis. Hindi sapat na nakikipag-usap ang ating mga pinunong lokal tuwing may election lamang, o sa ilang tao o grupo lamang, o di kaya ay tuwing may malaking suliranin o usapinang nagaganap. Ang dialogo na ito ay dapat na mas madalas at saklaw ang lahat ng sektor ng pamayanan upang ang mga suliranin ay mabigyan kaagad ng karampatang lunas at hindi na umabot pa sa antas ng krisis. We will also make sure that the participatory governance cluster, with the help and support of my co-chair, Secretary Jokno, constantly creates new spaces or mechanisms that will widen and further nurture people's participation in many, if not all, aspects of governance in the country. Thank you and good day.
Thank you very much, Secretary Anyo. As mentioned by Secretary Vasco earlier, we reformatted today's forum. So what's going to happen is we will be listening to the cluster chairs of the different clusters, and then we will have just one forum. And so, to continue the talks on participatory governance, we have Cluster Co-Chair Secretary Benjamin Jokno of the Department of Budget and Management.
To my fellow cabinet secretaries, representatives from national and local government, civil society organizations, people's organizations, the academe, business sector, media, and development partners, good morning. During the last SONA of the President, he emphasized one thing, that under his watch, the government should listen more and respond better to the needs of our people. Now, with the creation of the participatory governance cluster of the cabinet, we have been able to do just that. Riding on the President's strong political will, we have started our reform work and have gotten early results. So today, in this tatak ng malasakit at pagkakaisa forum, let me share with you where we are in terms of delivering on this promise. We now continue to build mutual trust between and among government institutions and the citizens. Under the Transparency Seal and Full Disclosure Policy initiatives, 97% of all national government units and 1,311 provinces, cities, and municipalities have made relevant financial and procurement information accessible to citizens. The President, in his last SONA, asked that transparency and accountability in the governance of the mining sector should be enhanced. And the Philippine Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative multi-sector shared stakeholder group called PRE-SONA has done an excellent job in responding to that call. Under the PRE-SONA initiative, an annual report that compares and scrutinizes data on government revenues vis-a-vis tax and payments made by mining sector is posted online for review by any interested party. We went down to talk to our communities, and they called for a national government that is more grounded and responsive. And we listened. Through the open government town hall sessions conducted nationwide, we brought down senior officials, secretaries, undersecretaries from 21 national government agencies to directly interact with, listen, and address the concerns of our citizens at the community level. And through this initiative, we were able to reach out to communities in 79 out of 81 provinces. We have given voice and vote to citizens and provided them a seat in the policy table. We listened to them. We have taken note of their issues and concerns and made sure that our national programs under the participatory governance cluster performance and project roadmap are designed to respond to their needs. We're also an administration that concretely takes action on our people's complaints. Hotline 888 recorded 22,180 transactions with an average resolution rate of 93.2%. Dole Hotline 1349 attended to 97,478 queries, while Hotline 911 received 248,282 legitimate calls. Now, through a convergence and whole-of-government approach, we break the culture of a bureaucracy that is used to working in silos for decades. Our efforts to strengthen linkage between planning and budgeting have also cultivated better relationships between and among governments at all levels, with government institutions finally speaking to each other and working together. We also serve the people better. Throughout this process, we also leverage technology to improve public service delivery. In fact, citizens can now enjoy easier access to government transactions through the national government portal, www.gov.ph, with 102 linked services or requests for birth certificates, processing of license, paying of taxes online. The one-stop shop service centers for OFWs were also put up for easier processing of OFW documents, serving 1.2 million Filipinos since January 2017. Now, through our flagship programs, we continue to engage different stakeholders, most especially the marginalized, and make real change truly felt by citizens. Now, we continue to strengthen our participation in the Open Government Partnership, or OGP. This is an international movement for good governance. In fact, it is through the OGP platform that we have conducted the nationwide consultations in crafting our 6-year cluster roadmap, bringing together more than 2,000 representatives from the national and local governments, civil society, the academe, public sector unions, business sector, people's organization, among others. Now, as a testament to the government's commitment to uphold a high level of transparency based on the amount and timeliness of budget information made available to the public, the Philippines has received an Open Budget Index score of 67 out of 100, making the Philippines #1 in Asia in terms of fiscal openness. We were followed by Indonesia, 64, Jordan, 63, Japan, and South Korea, number 60. We're number 17 in the entire world and #1 in Asia. Now, through our budget reforms, we continue to increase the availability of budget information that can be freely accessed by virtually anyone around the world, with meatier and more citizen-friendly budget information that we regularly publish. We adhere to greater transparency, not merely for the sake of uploading data for the public, but ultimately providing meaningful and useful information to enable greater citizens' participation in and ownership of the budget process. We have also prioritized issues on transparency and accountability in the mining sector. We are happy to report that as on October 20, 2017, the Philippines was recognized as the first country to meet all the requirements of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative that sets international transparency standards in the extractive sector. Only 3 among 52 countries participating in the same initiative have met all requirements of EITI. Now, 2 years after the issuance of Executive Order Number 2, we are also making headways in promoting access to information across the executive branch. To make it easier for citizens to request information online, portals such as the foi.gov.ph was established. From 14 agencies in December 2016, the platform now has 274 agencies on board. A total of 4,900 requests are now lodged online, in which 42% are successful. So as provided in the EO, all government agencies are required to submit the Freedom of Information manuals, which define how they will process requests for information. And as of 27 June 2018, the following government agencies have submitted their FOI manuals: 100% for all national government agencies, 84% for all government-owned and controlled corporations, 90% for all state universities and colleges, and 34% for all local water districts. Now, the Socioeconomic Report 2017 notes that Hotline 8888 has recorded 22,180 transactions with an average resolution rate of 93.2%, making it a very effective facility that allows citizens to give feedback to government that are acted upon on time and facilitates better public service delivery to our people. Now, the Commission on Audit has also institutionalized partnership with citizens in the conduct of performance audits of key social and infrastructure projects. In the past year, citizen participatory audit reports on the utilization of the Local Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund and the implementation of the Tourism Road Infrastructure Project Program, Water Sanitation and Hygienic Project, or WASH, and Solid Waste Management Program in various local government units were also published. Now, we have also achieved major milestones in promoting transparency, accountability, and citizen engagement in governance in the past year. And we are ensuring that we continue this great momentum through the development and implementation of a comprehensive roadmap that sets our narrative and concrete directions in terms of mainstreaming public participation mechanisms across all levels of government. The Participatory Governance Cluster Performance and Projects Roadmap 2017 to 2022 is a product of an extensive nationwide co-creation process with citizens. It highlights 20 key initiatives and 7 priority legislative measures that reflects the priorities and aspirations of the Filipino people as they work with the government in implementing and monitoring good governance performance. Now, what you will see is the complete list of our priority programs under the roadmap. Through these initiatives, we aim to enhance transparency and accountability in government, deepen citizen engagement in governance, set clear performance metrics and good governance standards, which would all eventually lead to more efficient, effective, and responsive public service delivery. So this shows additional programs that we have in our roadmap. Moving forward, we will strongly push for the passage of our priority legislative measures as well, such as the Freedom of Information Act, and most especially the Budget Reform Bill. This bill aims to institutionalize necessary ingredients of a modern budget system, budget disclosure, and citizen participation in the budget process. Now, through our cluster roadmap, we put strong emphasis on ensuring that participatory governance is at the front and center of the Duterte administration change and reform agenda. Because it is only under a regime of transparent, accountable, and participatory governance that we would be able to design programs and projects for real change and progress in a way that heeds citizens' voices and stake throughout the process. A process that which ultimately leads to public funds being used solely for our people's welfare and benefit. So please be assured that we will continue to listen and respond. Thank you very much.
We will have a 10-minute interval as we serve today's refreshments. Once again, this is Tatak ng Pagbabago, a PRE-SONA 2018 forum brought to you by the Office of the Cabinet Secretary and the Presidential Communications Operations Office. Our ushers will now be moving around to collect the questions you have written on your index cards. Please use the hashtags Tatak ng Pagbabago and hashtag Duterte-SONA 2018 in all your social media posts. Once again, we will have a 10-minute interval as we serve today's refreshments. Thank you. resume today.
naman simulan sa bayan. Tena, para magkakabaka. Tena, oo, may laban ka. Galingan, sipag, at paghusay. Panawagan ka ba tayo? Tena, para simulan mo na. Palampasan, parang kanbas. Pagkabahan ng galingan, simulan mo sa bayan.
Kahirapan. Ito ay suliraning may iba't ibang muka. Isang suliraning na ilang dekada na nating hinaharap bilang isang sambayanan. Bagamat patuloy ang paglago ng ating ekonomiya, nananatili pa ring mahirap ang kalakhan ng mamamayang Pilipino. Sino-sino nga ba ang mga baon sa hirap at paano natin sila matutulungan? Nakatira sa kanayunan o tinatawag na rural poor ang pinakamalaking bilang ng mga naghihirap. Ito ay ang mga magsasaka, mangingisda, at maggugubat. Kasama din sa mga mahihirap na mamamayang nais abutin ng gobyerno ay ang mga urban poor, indigenous people, overseas Filipino workers o OFW, at-risk population, persons with disabilities, at Muslim community. Ang mga mukha na ito ay nagpapakita na ang kahirapan ay maaaring malutas sa pamamagitan ng pagpapaunlad ng dalawang pangunahing sektor ng ating lipunan, agrikultura at industriya. Itinuturing ang dalawang sektor na ito na pinakamahalagang batayan sa paglikha ng trabaho at kabuhayan. Sa ilalim ng Philippine Development Plan o PDP, layunin na maibaba ang antas ng kahirapan mula sa kasalukuyang 21.6% patungo sa 14% pagsapit ng taong 2022. Nakaangkla ang PDP sa pangmatagalang tunguhin ng Administrasyong Duterte, ang ambisyon natin 2040, na may hangaring wakasan ang kahirapan sa bansa. Sa bisa naman ng Executive Order 24, nabuo ang Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cabinet Cluster o HDPRC. Mandato ng HDPRC na gawin ang lahat para mapabuti ang antas ng buhay ng mga Pilipino. Nakasaklaw sa Performance and Projects Roadmap ng HDPRC ang pagpapatupad ng agri-industrial na programang nakatuon sa 20 probinsya na may pinakamalaking bilang na mahihirap sa bansa. May itinakdang 3 layunin na dapat makamit ang HDPRC. Una, tiyakin na maging sentro ang estratehiya ang edukasyon para sa pamumuhunan sa mga mamamayan. Ikalawa, isulong at pangalagaan ang pampublikong sistema ng kalusugan. At ikatlo, paunlarin ang kakayanan ng mahihirap na sektor ng lipunan at lumikha ng mga oportunidad para sa kanila. Bukod sa mga layuning ito, hinihikayat din ng HDPRC ang pagtutulungan ng bawat ahensya ng gobyerno para makamit ang kaunlaran ng bansa. Walang layuning hindi makakamit kung sama-sama magtutulungan sa pagbibigay ng serbisyong may kalinga, pagmamahal at tiwala. Tiyak na mababago ang mukha ng kahirapan. Ang mga maralitang Pilipino ay tunay na makakawala sa tanikala ng karukhaan at ang pag-unlad ng bansa ay makakamtan.
So that was the HDPRC video. Let us continue with today's Tatak ng Pagbabago Forum, now with the Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster. This is the largest of the cabinet clusters. Let us welcome on stage Acting Secretary of the Department of Social and Welfare and Development, Secretary Virginia Orogo.
Katulad ng isang halaman, tayo ay aangat lamang bilang isang bayan kung lahat tayo ay magtutulungan, magkakaisa at magmamahalan. at may kalinga sa bawat isa. Gaya ng isang halaman, ito ay lalago kung ito ay binahagina ng sapat at tamang kontribusyon ng araw, tubig at lupa. At higit pang lalago kung ito ay binuhusan ng pagkalinga at pagmamahal. Mahalaga ang sinabi kong huling dalawang bagay upang magkaroon ng pagkakaisa na mag-uugnay sa lahat nitong pangangailangan. Limitado ang natatamasa nating produkto ng paglago dahil hindi sapat ang nabahaginan nating tulong kontribusyon sa kinakailangang mga kondisyon ng masaganang buhay. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng nandirito ngayon. In my over 40 years of working on the ground with our people and being with the people across regions in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, there is not much can be done until we stand regardless of our colors, sizes, appearances, regional beliefs, customs, practices, religions, groupings, or political affiliations. We should stand as one family, one organization, one country. For those of us who are here today, I know we have felt this by heart and seen them through our naked eyes, how we have performed over the years. We have witnessed how our neglected, disadvantaged, marginalized, vulnerable sectors of our society have been affected. How our women, children, persons with disabilities, the elderly groups, our indigenous peoples, our IDPs have suffered. If only we stand in support of each other to help each other and contribute to the conditions needed to grow as a country, there is no reason that we will keep being left behind and no reason that we keep enduring poverty and let it perpetuate within our midst. I think the learning years for all of us is over. Poverty is prevalent. Meanwhile, our human capital competitiveness is deteriorating. By now, we say that it is about time that we stop sliding back. We say enough to continuous deterioration, enough to disintegration, enough to waste. Instead, we need to keep moving on and work together forward as one family towards poverty reduction and inclusive growth. A growth where there is equitable opportunities for economic actors with benefits felt by every section of our society. Through the present administration's Human Development and Poverty Reduction Cluster, or HDPRC, which is led by an 18 cabinet member team, as chaired by DSWD, we welcome the presence of all the members of the team, CABSEC June Vasco, Secretary Duque of DOH, Secretary Briones of DepEd, Secretary Anyo of DILG, Secretary Manny Piñol of DA, and Secretary Ben Jokno of DBM. We also recognize the presence of USECs, ASECs, LGUs, NGOs, and POs. In pursuit of the cluster's mandate to exert all efforts to improve the quality of life of our Filipino people through a broad-based approach in the delivery of services, the cluster aims to making education as the central strategy for investment in people, reducing poverty, and building national competitiveness, public health advancement and protection, addressing some concerns on populations, reproductive health and sustainable development, capacity building, and opportunity creation, increase social protection and community engagement in their development, equal gender opportunities, promotion in public policies and programs, effective coordination for poverty reduction at the local level. The roadmap to the challenges for all of us may be long, but we stand committed towards our national target of lifting about 6 million Filipinos out of poverty. This is a decline of overall poverty rate to 14% from 21.6% by 2022. Specifically, the cluster focus is on addressing fundamental issues related to education, health, social protection, and rural development. On the education sector, some key accomplishments include 14.5% increase or over 1.8 million above target in enrollees in kindergarten and elementary education. Meanwhile, a total of over 4.9 million children of our beneficiaries, households of Bantawid Pamilyang Program, have been enrolled in 2017 and 2018. 25.6 or over 1.3 million increase in enrollees in secondary education. A total of over 3.9 million high school enrollees were Bantawid Pamilya beneficiaries. As regards to K-12, we have recorded a 1.2 million graduates. Enrollment in Alternative Learning System, or ALS, has served 641,584 enrollees. Our ALS is a second chance education program for out-of-school youths and adults, indigenous people, and for people who live in GIDA areas. The technical, vocational, education, and training graduates increased by over 2 million. As regards universal access to quality tertiary education and training, close to 900,000 Filipino students enrolled in 112 state universities and colleges for academic year. 2017-2018 benefited from the 8 billion grant of free tuition in SUCs. On top of this free education, approximately 300,000 students belonging to poor and near poor household will benefit from tertiary education subsidy for academic year 2018-2019. This is through UNIFAS, or the Unified Financial Assistance System for Tertiary Education. By 2022, UNIFAS aims to increase the beneficiaries to 856,577. Bagamat marami na ang nagawa, alam natin na mas marami pa ang ating trabaho na dapat gawin. Katunayan sa tagumpay ng implementasyon ng ALS ng DepEd, ang programang ito pinagsisikapan natin mapalawak ang saklaw nito sa particular na grupo tulad ng laborers, rebel returnees, migrants, ALS sa karagatan through bangkarunungan nang makarating sa 20 pinakamahirap na probinsya. Sa health advancement efforts naman, mayroon tayong PhilHealth-sponsored program where 93% of Filipinos are covered. A total of 32.7 million indigents from DSWDs, listahanan, and 8.6 million senior citizens have been sponsored. In terms of availing check-ups and immunization services by pregnant women and children beneficiaries, compliance rate was at 97.9%. 0.44%. Our Doctors to the Barrio program is now on its 25th year, where all the 271 doctorless municipalities have been served. Our government on medical assistance for indigents has served 751,007 clients, while our Lingap sa Masa has served 63,178 clients. Our drug abuse treatment and rehabilitation centers have expanded, and as early 2018, over 3,000 drug dependents have completed the community-based rehab program. On attaining responsible parenthood and reproductive health, we have catered to 617,000 women and unmet need for modern family planning. Inaasahan po natin na sa lalong madaling panahon, mabubuo at mapapasa na rin natin ang universal health coverage for all Filipinos bilang tugon sa karapatang serbisyo, pangkalusugan sa bawat pamilya. Through enhancement of social protection, development of policies and programs shall seek to reduce poverty and vulnerability to risk and enhance the social status and rights of the marginalized. Hence, thus compliance to labor standard has resulted in regularization of 217,491 workers. Pursued bilateral labor agreements through memoranda of understanding, especially with Cambodia, United Arab Emirates, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, for better working condition and stronger protection for our overseas Filipinos. 16,559 repatriated OFWs in crisis have been provided with assistance, including provisions of amnesties. The productive return of OFWs to their families and communities through reintegration and education services like availment of training, livelihood, scholarship, and short-term courses. Currently, a total of over 4.2 million unconditional cash transfer beneficiaries have received their payouts, and more payouts are ongoing and expected to reach an estimated 8 million on or before the SONA. UCT is used as an income support to cushion the effects of train law, enhancing resiliency, capabilities, especially for calamity victims and internally displaced families. As a way forward, a common database and unified ID system for all social services is currently being studied to facilitate further the delivery of our services to the poor, including the establishment of a special department for overseas Filipinos. Finally, on rural development, we have increased agricultural productivity for the corn and rice farmers. In 2017, the rice production reached historic high of 95% by producing 19.3 million metric tons compared to 17.6 million metric tons of previous administration, and 1.6 million metric tons for corn, which for the first time, DA declared we are self-sufficient in corn production. From July 2016 to March 2018, DAR distributed to 53,805 agrarian reform beneficiaries about 60,450 hectares of land. In response to the call of our President on ease on doing business, the DA, the Department of Agrarian Department of Agriculture launched Easy Access Credit, which leads to farmers and fisher folks at 6% interest rates without collateral. Total amount released already reached to 1 billion pesos with 96% repayment rate. On the other hand, the DSWD also launched its contribution to ease of doing business by launching its e-service for minors traveling abroad and the licensing of social welfare and development agencies. Further, intensified support has been extended to farmers and fisher folks to improve their capability through Solar Power Irrigation System or SPIS, National Color-Coded Agricultural Guide, Magsasakang Mekaniko, ang livelihood interventions. We also have a special area for agricultural development as well as the convergence on livelihood assistance for agrarian reform beneficiaries through DSWD Sustainable Livelihood Program or SLP. Ways forward. As a way forward, a total of 80 programs and services converge across 35 national line aid attached agencies and coordinative agencies. These make up the contribution to human development and poverty reduction sa tamang halo ng pagkakaisa at pagkalinga sa mamamayan at sa pagbabahagi natin sa paglago at paglaganap ng halaman na tinanim natin. Alam ko, makakaya nating harapin ang hamon ng bawat isa sa atin tungo sa mas mataas na kalidad ng pamumuhay para sa lahat. Truly, the roadmap to achieving an improved quality of life for all may not be easy for us, but we affirm continuously that alone we can only do so much, but together as one family, we can do everything. In behalf, therefore, of the cluster composing the human development and poverty reduction, I then call on everyone around, present here or away, that we join hands together in our best efforts to support President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's directives to help our Filipino family, to help Filipino people, especially the needy, disadvantaged, marginalized, and vulnerable sectors of our society towards making this nation great again. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much to Secretary Orogo. Thank you for all our secretaries who have shared with us today the milestones of our country that has been experiencing and for sharing with us as well the bright and promising future we have for every Filipino. So we come to the part of the forum where we will be having a panel. We will have the panelists from the different agencies and they will be answering questions from the floor. We learned from last week that opening it to everyone on the floor leaves people asking questions that are not for that particular forum. For example, last week we received a question regarding OFWs and senior high school, and it had nothing to do with economic development and infrastructure. And so today we have tweaked our open forum by asking you for your questions so that we can read them out and make sure that the questions are apropos to the clusters today, which is participatory governance and human development and poverty reduction. All right, so now let's call on our panelists, and these are all coming from the 2 cabinet clusters, starting with the HDPRC cluster. May we call back on stage Secretary Virginia Orogo of the SWD. May we call on stage also Secretary Francisco Duque of the Department of Health. May we call on stage Secretary Leonor Briones of the Department of Education. Cabinet Secretary Leonzo Evasco Jr., Secretary Manny Piñol of the Department of Agriculture, Undersecretary Siriaco Lagunzad III of the Department of Labor and Employment. So these will be the panelists for HDPRC. For Participatory Governance Cluster, may we call on Secretary Benjamin Diokno of DBM, Officer in charge of the DILG, Secretary Eduardo Anyo, Undersecretary of the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office, Attorney Ryan Esteves, Chairman of the Commission on Higher Education, Chairman Prospero de Vera III, and Undersecretary of the Department of Trade and Industry, Undersecretary Ireneo Vismonte. Yes. For HDPRC, my fault. From the National Anti-Poverty Commission, Undersecretary Roseler Barinaga. My apologies. Right. So we can begin. We will start with questions raised from the previous forum. And a question was addressed to the Department of Education, so Secretary Briones, but I think also Chairman De Vera can answer. The question is, do we have data on the state of the senior high school students? And do we have projects that will support the job readiness of senior high school students?
Yes. Yes, we have data, not only on senior high school students, but on every single learner enrolled in the basic education system. Each learner, and there are now projected 27 million of them, has a number which is recorded in our central offices. So when a child moves from one school to another, or changes his or her address, or gets out of the country, we can track that child. So it's a complete data system on the learners, also on the teachers and our staff. So the answer is yes.
Thank you very much, Secretary Briones. Chair De Vera, would you like to add?
Yeah, the DepEd said that about 1.252 senior high school students are graduating or have graduated this year. We're estimating that between 50 to 60% of them would go to higher education. And about 50% of them will go to public universities where they will get free tuition and miscellaneous. Those that go to private universities can avail both of the tertiary education subsidy if they are poor, or enroll in private universities in areas where there are no state universities and colleges. So we're providing access to quality education for the poor and for those that go to state universities and colleges. DepEd and CHED are also collaborating to make sure that the ALS graduates are able to go to the university level. So we have both issued memoranda to ask the universities to accept the ALS graduates, both for June and the August opening of classes. So that's the collaboration between CHED and DepEd.
Can I give additional information?
Yes, Madam.
Mention was made of nearly 60% of our senior high school graduates, or about 700,000, who plan to go to university and to college. And Commissioner Popoy has discussed this. The other 38% is composed of graduates who are in the tech voc strand. And the good thing about our tech voc graduates is that even before they have graduated, they already have jobs. This is because to be able to graduate, they have to undergo an immersion process. And the trend is for the offices, the factories, and the bosses who take in our tech voc students, they tend to retain them. So many of our tech voc graduates, the 38%, and that is about 400,000, more than 400,000, already have jobs even before they graduated. But an interesting thing is that these kids say they are working because they want to proceed with college. So college is still the favored target and goal of parents and learners.
Thank you, Secretary Briones. This next question is for the DILG. For Secretary Anyo, what is the policy guidance of the government in terms of the proposed construction of casinos in Boracay?
Thank you for the question. Unang-una, the President has already decided and announced walang construction ng casino sa Boracay. Even I and other cabinet secretaries like Secretary Simato, we are very firm in our stand that we will not allow any casino to be constructed or built on Boracay. Ang mga tao pupunta sa Boracay para mag-swimming, hindi para magsugal. Kaya walang casino dyan.
Thank you, Secretary Anyo. The next question is addressed to DBM Secretary Jokno. With the urgent certification of the budget reform bill, is there already a schedule of plenary deliberations in the Senate when the session resumes on SONA July 23?
Well, as you know, the budget reform bill has already been approved by the House. It's now pending in the Senate, and we expect that that will be taken up on June 24th, the following day of the SONA. Because as the House is discussing the budget, they have enough time, the Senate has enough time to tackle the budget reform bill. Okay?
Thank you, Secretary Jokno. Again, we have ushers around the floor. If you have other questions for all of our panelists, please raise your hand so that they can go to you and you can ask them the question so they can give this to me. This next question is for DSWD Secretary Ma'am Orogo. How can DSWD promote or help in the implementation of Executive Order number 417, which is the economic independence of persons with disabilities?
Hello. For the person with disabilities right now, we're trying to improve the accessibility of all our PWDs for work centers. And we also have this, we're trying to initiate this time our Sustainable Livelihood Program to adjust and develop programs that will benefit and address the economic competitiveness of our PWDs and improve their entrepreneurship. We're now, by next year or by this year, we're starting to work it out with our PWDs.
Thank you, Secretary. This next question is for the Department of Health for Secretary Duque. Since the devolution of health in 1992, it has always been difficult to coordinate health services across many actors, DOH, local governments, and the private sector. Filipinos are also still paying more than half of the health bill from their own pockets. Will the universal health care bill certified as urgent by the President help solve these problems with coordination of care and the high cost of health care to families?
Well, there is no absolute yes or an absolute no to your question. Because first and foremost, quite agreeably, the local government code of 1992 did decentralize healthcare services to the local government units. But let me just clarify that these are essentially the primary healthcare services that have been devolved to the local government units. And we have seen that for more progressive local government units, the likes of Makati, Quezon City, Manila, the richer LGUs, have been quite successful in terms of the quality and accessibility of primary healthcare services provided to their people. It's really, the challenge is largely doon po sa mga mahihirap na mga pamahalaan lokal na nakikita natin ngayon, kung hindi po prioridad dito ng local chief executive, makikita natin na hindi talaga maganda ang kalidad at ang mga pangunahin serbisyong pangkalusugan ay nakokompromiso, no? So dito ang DOH dapat pumasok at gumawa ng mga hakbang upang mapaigting ang mga pangunahing serbisyong pangkalusugan. So there has to be a complementation, and that is exactly what the DOH is doing. And one very specific response to this challenge at the LGU level, where the quality or accessibility of primary healthcare services continue to be a laggard, no, is the SDN, the Service Delivery Network. So we're in talks with our LGU counterparts to put together an operational service delivery network. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng SDN? Ito po yung mga barangay health station na ang gusto nga po ni Pangulong Duterte na kanyang naibukang bibig noong 2017 State of the Nation Address na magkaroon ng health station sa bawat barangay. Napakamahalaga po itong hakbang na ito sapagkat inilalapit po natin ang mga pangunahing serbisyong pangkalusugan para po sa atin mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na po sa mga malalayong lugar. Ang malalayong lugar po, ito yung tinatawag natin GIDA areas. Geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. So dito po talaga kinakailangan na mapaunlad natin ang mga serbisyong pangkalusugan. Susunod po sa barangay health station, mas mataas na antas po ng serbisyo na ipinamamalas po ng ating mga rural health centers or rural health units. Medyo mas mataas po ang kanilang kakayahan tumugon sa mga iba't ibang mga pangangailangan pangkalusugan ng ating po mga kababayan. Mula po sa mga city health centers, mga RHUs, papasok po tayo sa mga district hospitals. From the district hospitals, meron po tayo tataas sa provincial hospitals. Patuloy po yan hanggang sa mga DOH regional medical centers, hanggat po sa mga ospital na mga specialty medical centers, heart, lung, kidneys, and children's hospital. So ito po ay kailangan natin mabuo po natin itong mga iba't ibang level o antas ng pagtugon sa mga iba't ibang klase ng mga serbisyong pangkalusugan na kinakailangan ng taong bayan from what we consider within the spectrum of care. First is the health promotion. Second is disease prevention. Third is what you call the curative phase of healthcare. Fourth being the rehabilitation phase. And last but not least, of course, is the palliative care. So ito po ang ginagawa ng ating DOH para pagyamanin ang kakayahan ng gobyerno makapagbigay ng mataas na antas na serbisyong pangkalusugan sa gitna ng tinatawag natin devolved health services ng DOH. Pero ganun pa man ay mahirap ang sitwasyon sa kasalukuyan dahil gaya ng sinabi ko, kung ang local chief executive ang kanyang prioridad ay infrastructure, ang hindi naman ang kalusugan, magsasuffer talaga ang ating pong mga kababayan. Ganun pa ba, meron naman tayong PhilHealth. PhilHealth is one very successful integrating mechanism. Although na-devolve ang mga services, but with PhilHealth ay parang nanumbalik muli under a unified financing administration of the health system. Because dito po ay pinagbuklod-buklod natin ang mga ospital ng mga pamahalaan lokal, ang ospital ng pamahalaan nasyonal, at ang mga ospital ng pribadong sektor. At dito po, batay po sa mga set standards of quality, safety ng mga serbisyo, ay ang PhilHealth po ay siyang nagbabayad ng malaking pondo. As an information to our publics here, is in 2017, PhilHealth had a total benefit payout of 107 billion. That's a benefit payout of about 1.8 billion weekly. And so that's how much PhilHealth has really contributed to the way we deliver healthcare. And it used to be that financing barrier was really a major challenge. But now, kailangan natin paunlarin pa ang PhilHealth. At ginagawa po natin ito, yung collection efficiency ng PhilHealth po ay pinatataas natin yung kasanayan sa pagkolekta. At didemanda na po natin ang mga korporasyon na either underreporting ng kanilang mga empleyado o hindi nagbabayad ng tamang contributions para po sa kanilang mga manggagawa. So ito po ang isa sa mga pangunahing mga hakbang na isinusulong po ng inyong Department of Health. Dahil sumusuporta po tayo sa kahangarin po ng ating Pangulo na ang health services na ibinibigay ng ating DOH at mga LGU facilities, ito po yung bumubuo na tinatawag natin frontline services. And ito po ang muka ng gobyerno. Kaya wag po kayong, please don't doubt the capacity of this administration to pursue meaningful, lasting, substantive reforms in healthcare with the end in view of achieving universal healthcare and also putting greater bias for primary healthcare. Because this has been the missing link, yung primary healthcare. Puros tayo ospital eh. Lahat ng mga pasyente natin, konting sakit, takbo sa ospital. Buntis, wala namang complication, takbo sa ospital. Samantalang ayusin natin yung different levels of service delivery and in accordance with the manifestations or the type or types of illnesses that our people manifest. There has to be a corresponding quality and appropriate care that is provided.
Thank you po, Secretary Duque. So there is a plan and there is a roadmap on how the DOH can interact and coordinate with our local government units because like what Secretary Duque said, if you have a minor medical concern, you don't need to go straight to the hospital. You can probably go to the barangay healthcare center or to the rural health unit of your municipality. So, ganyan. That's how we're going to address it. Now, the last two questions were regarding pending bills in Congress, the budget reform bill, which was answered by Secretary Jokno, and then recently the universal healthcare bill answered by Secretary Duque. May we ask Attorney Esteves Yusek of PLLO, what is the timeline of the PLLO in passing these two measures? Yusek, Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. The Budget Reform Act was certified as urgent on March 19, 2018. And this will be calendared for committee report. Actually, it's in the committee report in the Senate. So hopefully, by the opening of session after the SONA, this will already be tackled. And as Secretary Jokno said, it is already approved on third reading at the House of Representatives. So we are looking at a very fast moving budget reform act for this Congress.
Thank you, Yusek Ryan. The next question is for Secretary Piñol of the Department of Agriculture. Question, sir. The increased taxes has caused the increase of farm inputs. With proposed regulation of the rice industry, how will you address the stable cost of palay?
I don't quite get the question, the essence of the question. But if you're asking whether the increase in taxes would result in increased prices of food commodities in the market, in the recent study we conducted using the Furukawa formula in determining the contribution of each activity to the price of food commodity in the market, the train law has very little impact actually on prices. Kaya tumaas yung presyo sa merkado mainly because of speculation. At nagkaroon sila ng magandang scapegoat, itinuturo yung train law, itinuturo yung fuel price. But essentially, the reason why tumataas yung presyo sa merkado is number one, speculation. Number two, at ito'y tinignan na ng ating Pangulo, this was thoroughly discussed during the last cabinet meeting. Ang dalawang problema natin would be yung farm production at saka market distribution. Sa farm production, ang pinakamalaking problema ng ating mga magsasaka ay kung saan makakuha ng kapital na pambili ng binhi, pambili ng gasolina sa kanilang mga bangka at other production requirements. Kadalasan, ang ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda ay nanghihiram ng pera sa mga local traders at ito mataas ang interest. So dahil mataas ang interest, pagbayad nila, kailangan mataas din ang presyo ng kanilang produkto. In between the market and the farm, naandyan yung layers and layers of middlemen na mas malaki ang kinikita kaysa magsasaka. Pagdating naman sa merkado, kadamihan ng ating mga tindera at tindero sa public and wet markets ay nangungutang lamang sa 5-6 para sa kanilang kapital. Kaya ang unang hinahabol kapag nagbebenta sila ng kanilang mga tinda sa public market, ang unang hinahabol yung 20% na kailangan nilang pambayad sa utang nila sa 5-6. The President actually realized this, and this is precisely the reason why kami sa Department of Agriculture ay naglaan initially ng 1 bilyon para ipautang sa ating mga magsasaka, walang collateral, 6% interest, at napakaganda po ng resulta. Sa una naming pinautang na 1 bilyon, 96% ang repayment rate. At doon sa Cordillera, sa mga Igorot farmers, 100% ang repayment rate. Because of this, yung ating mabait na budget secretary, dinagdagan ang pondo sa programang ito for the year 2019. Ginawang 3.7 billion pesos from 1 billion because of the success of the program. At the end of the line, yung sa marketing naman, ginawa ng paraan ng Department of Trade and Industry na somehow ay labanan yung 5-6. At naglaan ng Pangulo ng initial 1 billion pesos para ipautang sa mga tindero at tendera at 2% interest per annum, nakaparking lang yung pera. Hindi ko kolektahin. Iiwan lang doon sa grupo at paiikutin lang yung pera. Noong last cabinet meeting, inanunsyo ng ating Pangulo na dahil nakikita niya na kapag hindi natin binigyan ng pautang na mababa ang interest yung ating mga tindero-tindera, ang kikita ay yung 5-6. Alam nyo, every day, 30 billion pesos ang pera ng 5-6 na umiikot sa palengke. At sila ang kumikita to the detriment of the consumers. So ngayon, ang ginawa ng Pangulo, he decided to put up 1 billion at inutusan niya sa Secretary Jokno na maghanap pa ng 5 billion para gawing 6 na bilyon yung ipapautang sa mga tindero-tindera natin sa palengke. So this is the way government responds to problems like this. And please do not believe the story that the train law is the cause of all of these fluctuating prices in the market. That's not true. That's not true, and I'm telling you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sec Piñol. Sir, this is a follow-up question and you may have answered it already. This is from Alan of ALU-TUP. We are going into rice tariffication. Will we create a rice competitive enhancement fund to protect our rice farmers?
Yes, this was the discussion made by the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Environment, chaired by Senator Cynthia Villar. Kasi pag nag-tarify tayo, ibig sabihin, dapat magkaroon ng proteksyon yung ating mga magsasaka. But since the tariffs will only be collected after you have implemented the program, dapat merong tinatawag nating safety net. And the Senate Committee on Agriculture has proposed a 5 billion peso safety net fund para sa ating mga rice farmers in preparation for the tariffication. Noong last cabinet meeting po namin, binanggit ko rin po ito sa ating Pangulo, and Secretary Jokno said that there is a standby fund for this the moment we need this. So I would like to assure the Filipino farmers, ang inyo pong gobyerno, ang inyo pong pamahalaan ay hindi po bingi at bulag. Pinapakinggan po namin ang hinaing ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda at tinutugunan po namin to.
Thank you, Secretary Piñol. The next question is addressed to the Office of the Cabinet Secretary. We have Yusek Mercado here. Question is, I am Bay Limpayan Sibug Las, a member of the indigenous peoples belonging to the Manobo tribe of North Cotabato. Is there any other means for us IPs living in the hinterlands if we cannot access the hotline 8888 because there is no signal, as well as electricity and no farm-to-market roads if we have complaints?
We actually just conducted 3 summits, one in Luzon, one in Visayas, and one in Mindanao. And I think there were enough resolution on how to get through our Commission on Indigenous People and directly to the Office of the Cabinet Secretary. Each of the summit has came up with a resolution, and there are point person in the ground actually that they can link with in the event that they cannot get through our 8888. But I just want to say that with the leadership of Yusek Dale Cabrera in our strategic office, we are actually going to do some innovations in the ground. We're working with other IT companies and our service providers. So I'm sure within this year, before the end of the year, we will be able to do some networking and programs that would link this unreachable IPs linked to the 8888 program. Thank you.
Thank you po. Aasahan po yan ni Bay Limpayan Sibuglas ng IP ng Manobo Tribe of North Cotabato. The next question is for Dole. We have Yusek Lagunzad to answer this on behalf of Secretary Bello. Secretary Bello submitted a memo to PRRD recommending a subsidy of 500 pesos each monthly for a total of 4 million minimum wage earners who are affected by Train 1 and who did not receive a tax break under Train 1. What is the status of this subsidy request which can be granted as a mitigating measure under Train 1? This is a question from TUCP. Yusek.
Thank you. This is on behalf of Secretary Silvestre Bello III, isa pong mainit na pagbati. Si Secretary po ay pangkasalukuyang hinaharap yung mga trabahador sa PLDT dahil sa usaping endo. So humihingi siya ng paumanhin. Bagamat naandun siya, susubukan niyang dumating para makipagkamustahan kahit matapos po ito. Yun pong panukalang mabigyan ng subsidy o unconditional transfer ang mga minimum wages ay naipadala na po sa mahal na Pangulo. At ang memo ni Secretary ay hindi naman naglalaman ng specific amount dahil ang issue ng budget ay yan po ay sa larangan ng DBM. Pero ang intention ng Department of Labor and Employment ay mabigyan ng supplementary support ang mga minimum wage earners. Alam nyo naman na 8 regional boards na ang nakapagtakda ng increase sa minimum wage. Kung gayong mangyayaring mabigyan lahat ang mga minimum wage earners ng karagdagang sahod, yun pong unconditional transfers ay makakatulong sa mga manggagawa. Nagko-coordinate po kami sa Department of Finance dahil ang practical na problema, paano mo i-identify kung sino yung mga minimum wage earners? So, ang aming listahan na titignan ay 2 po o 3. Unang-una, sa BIR, nakalista po ang mga minimum wage earners doon. No? Bagamat hindi kompleto yon, titignan po rin natin, ibabangga natin doon sa listahan ng DSWD. At panghuli, titignan natin sa listahan ng SSS kung sino yung mga minimum wage earners. Meron pong patuloy na usapan ang DSWD, DOF, pati SSS. At kung yung mga practical issues na yan ay masosolve at makakakuha tayo ng pondo, mabuti katabi ko si Secretary Jokno, ay maipamamahagi yon sa pamamagitan ng SSS kasi sila po ay meron ng mga humid cards at kung mailipat ang pera sa SSS, madali na hong i-deposit sa mga SSS members yung amount. At ito po ay ibibigay sa 3 taon. Gaya ng inibinibigay ng DSWD, sana magkaroon ng transfers ngayon, next year, at saka sa 3rd year. So yun po ay tinatrabaho natin at sinusuportahan natin itong effort na ito. Salamat po.
Thank you po. We also have Yusek Barinaga and Yusek Vismonte. Maybe you want to add, Yusek Barinaga, regarding the concern for the 500 peso request to aid our minimum wage earners po.
Thank you. Thank you. If possible, that should be given, no? In order that our workers will be relieved from some of their inconveniences. We go for the DOLE's program.
Thank you. So at least NAPSI and the Department of Labor and Employment coordinate with each other. The next question is for DBM Secretary Jokno. Sir, with the promulgation last July 4 of the Supreme Court en banc decision on the consolidated cases of Mandanas versus Ochoa and Garcia versus Ochoa relative to the issue of the IRA or Internal Revenue Allotment, is the national government ready to revise the revenue base of IRA for fiscal year 2019? Is the national government capable of giving to LGUs the undistributed share in national taxes for the previous years? Sir.
As of now, quite frankly, hindi pa namin natatanggap yung desisyon. No? So we don't know exactly kung magkano ang damage sa national government noon. There are varying estimates, 1.2 trillion to about 6 trillion. Yun ang epekto nun sa gobyerno. So, pinapa-apila namin yun sa SOCGEN, sa SOLGEN, to reverse the decision. No? Hindi natin kaya yung ganun kalaking budget. No? Okay.
So, in other words, Secretary, we will cross the bridge when we get there. The DBM.
Sa ngayon, wala pa kami pinaghahawakan. Okay.
Thank you, sir. The next question is to DILG OIC Secretary Anyo. What are the current and future efforts of the DILG to enhance participatory governance in local communities that are highly vulnerable to violent extremism?
Thank you. Well, just like how we fight illegal drugs and criminalities and also the communist insurgents, our Peace and Order Council, we have the Regional Peace and Order Council, Provincial, Municipal, all the way to Barangay Peace and Order Council. Mayroon tayong mga CSOs and private organizations, representatives na nandyan sa PPOC or sa POC. So through their involvement, nakakaroon sila ng mga engagement sa community para maipaabot dito sa POC yung mga concern. Especially dito sa mga areas, affected areas ng violent extremism at communist insurgency. And there is really a need for the input from the community because ito ang unang-unang nagiging biktima ng violent extremism. Siguro kung hindi nangyari, kung nag-function mabuti yung sa Marawi, baka hindi sana tayo nagkaroon ng Marawi crisis. And in the POC, we make sure that we have the whole of government approach and whole of nation initiative. Because hindi lang military at police ang sagot natin sa violent extremism. Kailangan din ang involvement ng ibang agency at ibang sectors, katulad ng religious sector. We have to get the cooperation of the imams, the Muslim priests, the sultans, the datus, to come up with a comprehensive plan on how to eliminate violent extremism. But most importantly, ang involvement ng ating family, ang mga parents na siya mag-guide sa mga kabataan na nagiging biktima sa recruitment ng violent extremism. And with that, we will make sure that we will do appropriate action, adding additional military units and PNP forces in the area, and likewise, ensuring that there is a working mechanism, responsive Peace and Order Council to address violent extremism.
Thank you, Secretary. This next question is addressed to DepEd, but CHED and DILG can answer. Ano po ang pwedeng gawin ng CHED, DepEd, Civil Service at DILG? Maybe we can ask Secretary Biones to answer first. Sa tahasang pakikialam ng mayor sa operasyon ng lokal at pampublikong paaralan. Ano po ang pwedeng gawin ng DepEd sa tahasang pakikialam ng mayor sa operasyon ng lokal at pampublikong paaralan? So mga elementary schools, Secretary Biones.
Ang edukasyon ay ang mandato na mag-implement ng batas hinggil sa basic education in our case, sa CHED naman sa higher education, TESDA sa vocational education, ay nasa aming mga ahensya. At saka, alam naman natin, nung nag-aral pa tayo ng high school, sinasabi na hiwalay ang profesional na burokrasya sa politikal na sistema. Kanya-kanyang trabaho tayo. Ang paggawa ng batas, trabaho yan ng lehislatura. Ang pag-implement ng batas, trabaho ng burokrasya, kasama na ang Department of Education. At saka kung may mga issues, may away, halimbawa, papasok na doon ang justice, ang ating judicial branch. So, kung tungkol sa eskwelahan, tungkol sa pag-aaral, basic education, yan ay pananagutan ng Department of Education. Sa pagpili ng mga guro, sa pagpili ng division superintendents, pagpili ng mga regional directors, at saka ang pagpili naman ng pinaka-highest officials ay nasa presidente. Yan ay maliwanag sa konstitusyon at tinuro yan sa atin nung bata pa tayo.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary Biones. Yun din yata po yung naisip ko na ang pakikialam ay yung pag-appoint siguro ng mga superintendent ng DepEd. Thank you for that affirmation po. May we also get a reaction from Chair Popoy on SUCs and looks po?
Hindi ko po alam kung anong ibig sabihin ng pakikialam, pero sa 112 state universities and colleges, ang mga patakaran sa pamantasan, curriculum, pag-hire ng teacher, kung sino graduate, yan ho'y nakalaan sa Board of Regents ng bawat state university. At hindi po membro ang local government ng Board of Regents. So makasisiguro ho kayo na doon sa pagdesisyon sa mga state universities, hindi po kasama kasi yung local government doon. Yung mga local universities at colleges, dyan po nakaupo ang mga local officials. Pero ang tingin ho namin dyan, ang mga local governments ay kakampi ng pamahalaan dahil nagbibigay ho ng pondo ang local government sa pagpatakbo ng mga local universities and colleges. Konti lang ho yung subsidy ng national government para sa tuition tsaka miscellaneous. Ang mas malaking bahagi ay pondo ho ng local government. So hindi ho sila nakikialam, sila ho'y tumutulong, magbigay ng pagkakataon na makapag-aral ang mga bata. Yung mga state universities and colleges ho natin, maraming proyekto with local governments through their extension programs. So sa bahagi ho ng komisyon, ang tingin namin ay ang local governments ay kakampi dapat ng universities at colleges, hindi ho dapat kalaban. Pero kung may reklamo ho kayo, idulog nyo lang ho sa aming opisina at iimbestigahan namin kung meron bang linalabag ng mga patakaran ng pamantasan ang mga local governments at actionan po namin.
Thank you, Chair Popoy. This question is for Acting Secretary Orogo, DSWD. What are the disqualifications for senior citizen pension? It seems that there is no standard answer in the provinces and in the region. Secretary, can you clarify regarding disqualification for senior citizen pension?
Ang gusto sana natin, lahat ng ating senior citizen magkaroon ng tinatawag na pension. Pero dahil po hindi naman po ganun kalaki yung ating budget, no, ang priority po natin binibigyan ngayon ay yung mga poorest of the poor. No, yung walang pensyon na tinatanggap mula sa ibang ahensya tulad ng SSS, tulad ng veterans, at GSIS. Ayun po, yung mga may pensyon pong yon, sana maintindihan po nila tayo. So ngayon po, ang priority po natin ay yung mga talagang walang tinatanggap ni 5 sa anumang ahensya ng gobyerno.
Thank you po. Next question, we're in the last 10 minutes of our 1-hour open forum, is for Secretary Piñol. Sir, if the this is from AMMA Katipunan. If the mechanization and modernization further will be pursued, how will you address the displacement and dislocation of agricultural workers?
Meron po tayong inihandang programa para dyan. In fact, we have already implemented this. Yung pong tawag nating makinadong magsasaka program. Ang ginagawa po natin ngayon, lahat po ng mga farm workers, ino-organize natin at binibigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon na makapagmay-ari ng mga equipment, traktora, harvester, at sila po mag-ooperate. So instead of working in the fields with their hands, ngayon po sila na mag-ooperate ng traktora. So nobody will be displaced in this program.
Thank you, Secretary. This is for the Department of Health and the Office of Cabinet Secretary, but I think Secretary Duque already answered this. You may want to add, sir. Given that the SDGs are interrelated, how does the Department of Health implement the whole of society or government approach for better health outcomes?
Well, the Universal Healthcare Bill, by the way, I take this opportunity to convey our gratitude and appreciation to President Rodrigo Duterte for his having certified the Universal Healthcare Bill as urgent. And this is really, well, why don't we give all the President a big round of applause? Louder, please, louder para marinig niya. Dahil napakamahalaga po itong panukalang ito na naipasa na po ito sa mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso at sa ngayon po ay binabalangkas ng 4 na senador sa sa Senado at ang Universal Healthcare Strategy ay gumagamit ng tinatawag natin sectoral, yung whole of government approach, lalo-lalo na ang kalusugan kasi naapektuhan ito hindi lamang direktamente ng mga programang pangkalusugan within the purview of the DOH. In fact, 30% lang ng health outcomes ang nai-influence ng mga programa within the Department of Health. 70% of those outcomes are actually influenced by other government agencies. No? Environment is one, education is two, social welfare is three, and so forth and so on. Kaya nga, dapat talaga dito, we have to be more inclusive. We have to be more strategic in the sense that we have to identify. We cannot be operating the health system in a silo. It has to be connecting to the other agencies of government where their outputs will influence the health outcomes of our people. So I think it's very important that the whole of government, the whole of society approach has to be really maximized. We operate on the principle of complementation. No one department can function as if it were an island by itself. Because really, the principle of complementation and synergy is so important, especially now that, of course, the SDG challenge, for example, bringing down the maternal mortality rate, it's quite frustrating. No? I have to be the first one to admit. But that for many decades, the rate at which the maternal mortality rate has been going down is at a snail's pace. And we need to do something really to complement our programs, DSWD, POPCOM, DepEd, and really somebody to orchestrate that we all get our act together. We understand the end goal. We want to dramatically reduce our maternal mortality rate, increase our life expectancy, bring down our neonatal infant and child under 5 mortality, and also bringing down the prevalence of HIV, TB, AIDS, and ang dami natin problema sa kalusugan. Hindi kaya po ng Department of Health lang ang isulong itong mga pagbabago na atin pong inumpisahan na at ibinabalik sa Department of Health. At kailangan po ang pakikipag-ugnayan sa marami pong mga departamento na talagang may sadyang kinalaman o pag-impluensya sa kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan. So let's get connected. Let's get all of our outputs connected within the social services agencies of government to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Question is for Secretary Anyo. How serious is the Duterte administration in terms of filing charges, cases against, number one, non-performing government officials, whether national or local, including governors, mayors, etc.? And number two, barangay officials involved in illegal activities?
Well, number one, the President is really very serious in fighting graft and corruption. In fact, hindi lang local government officials, even sa cabinet, ay may mga tinanggal si Presidente on allegation of corruption. Now, if you took note of my presentation on the issue of graft and corruption, since the assumption of the President, a total of 156 local government officials have been either dismissed or suspended. In fact, 58 to be exact ang dinismiss because of corruption. And we just launched our Bantay Corruption. This is to educate everybody kung ano yung mga grounds for graft and corruption na pwede nating i-file against our local government officials through 888 hotline or by simply writing us and giving us information. And in fact, the example also is on the Boracay issue. We have filed 17 cases of both administrative and criminal to 17 local government officials. And not only that, sa mga barangay captains natin na hindi nakapag-put up ng Barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Council, Anti-Drug Council, ay ating pinailan din ng administrative cases. So ito ay tuloy-tuloy. We want the local chief executives and other government elected officials to be matino, mahusay at mahasang lingkod bayan. Kailangan natin ang participation ng lahat dito because kayo ang nakaka-experience, kayo ang ang nakakadama kung mayroong pagbabago sa ating mga munisipalidad at sa ating mga barangay. So just let us know and we will make all actions immediately. Isa lang ang hangarin natin dito, mapaangat ang antas at buhay ng ating mamamayan at magkaroon ng good governance at ma-deliver ang mga basic services, lalo na sa malalayong lugar.
Thank you po, Secretary Anyo. We are down to our last 3 questions. We have Secretary Bello with Secretary Evasco here. Let's give a hand to Secretary Silvestre Bello, sir. Actually, sir, the next question is sa Dole po. So either you or Yusek Lagunzad can answer this question. This was raised in the previous PRE-SONA forum. What are the projects raised by Congressman Bertis of party list OFW po? What are the projects of the Duterte administration for our overseas Filipino workers? It seems from their perspective, wala daw pong projects ang Duterte administration para po sa mga OFWs. Pakilinaw naman po para...
Thank you po, thank you. Baka hindi nag-aaral si Congressman Bertis. Ang dami po kaming nagagawa para sa mga OFW. Unang-una, nakapag-establish kami, we were able to establish 17 one-stop shop for our OFWs. We were able to establish an overseas Filipino bank where Land Bank purchased the Philippine Postal Bank to serve as an OFW for our overseas workers. For our OFWs, we have a hotline 1349 where all requests of OFWs have to be acted upon in 72 hours. Kapag hindi nangyari yon, may administrative liability ang aming mga trabahante sa DOLE. Meron kaming idol card which will serve as an OEC or the Overseas Employment Certificate. They do not need anymore to line up in all our Philippine overseas labor offices all throughout the accepting countries. Para hindi na sila nagbabayad pa. Ang kanilang idol card will serve as their OEC. Unprecedented po yan dahil sa kagustuhan at instruction ng ating Pangulo. Dapat alam yan ni Congressman Bertis. Dahil gusto niya siya ang gagawa sa idol card. Kaya nagalit siya nung hindi namin binigay sa kanya ang paggawa ng idol card. Kasi sabi namin yung idol card walang cost sa gobyerno, walang cost sa OFC overseas worker. Marami pa kaming nagawa sa overseas. We have just signed an MOU with the government of Kuwait where maximum and optimum protection are provided our overseas workers. Yung gusto ng ating Pangulo na ang ating mga overseas workers, hawak nilang kanilang cellphone. Masusunod yun. Yung kanilang passport, hindi dapat hawak ng employers nila. Hawak ng ating embahada. Under that MOU, our overseas workers have definite, specific period of work, 8 hours a day. Have specific sleeping hours. Ang ating mga OFW, hindi pwedeng ilipat ng mga employers without the written consent and without the written approval of our labor attaches. Hindi alam, kung hindi alam ni Congressman Bertis yan, ibig sabihin, he does not deserve to represent the OFW in Congress. Yusek Akong, ano pa? Ha? Ha? Oh, ang daming kaming nagawa para sa OFW. Hindi ko alam kung bakit hindi alam ni Congressman Bertis yan. We are revisiting all existing bilateral agreements with all recipient countries. Kasi gusto ng ating Pangulo, ng ating mga overseas workers, pag nandun sila sa ibang bansa, protektado sila. Hindi nagawa yan ni Congressman Bertis as a congressman. Ano pa bang nagawa natin, Yusek Akong?
Reintegration, sir.
Ha?
Reintegration.
Yung reintegration natin, when we came in July 2016, there were 13,000 overseas workers stranded in Saudi Arabia. Upon the direction of the President, we brought them home and spent half billion. Sinuwerte tayo doon dahil yung pamasahe ng ating mga kababayan, sinagot ni King Salman dahil mahal na mahal ni King Salman si President Duterte. Hindi dahil mahal ni King Salman si Congressman Bertis. We have reintegration program for our overseas workers. When they come home, may immediate financial assistance of 20,000 for their livelihood project. All their children are scholars of OWA. Kung hindi alam ni Congressman Bertis yan, dapat hindi na siya congressman. Salamat po.
Thank you po, Secretary Bello. Thank you po. May dagdag po yata si Secretary.
May idadagdag lang po ako doon. Actually, tumutulong po ang Department of Agriculture sa ating reintegration program ng OFWs. No? In fact, I would like to announce na kahapon lang po, isang araw, meron pong isang grupo ng OFWs from Tarlac. Pumunta po sa opisina. Ito'y headed by Aldrin Cardenas. Gumagawa po sila ng silage para sa mga baka. Binigyan namin sila ng mga equipment. So ang amin pong information sa ating mga OFWs, kapag umuwi po kayo sa Pilipinas at gusto nyong magsaka, dumaan po kayo kay Secretary Bello at sa amin sa DA at tutulong po kami. Meron po tayong mga funding, pautang sa mga OFWs din na gustong makisama sa atin sa ating food production program. So, suporta po yan hindi kay Secretary Bello, kundi sa ating mga OFWs.
Pwede magdagdag?
May dagdag po si Yusek Vismonte.
Hello. Magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat. Baka po magalit sa akin si Secretary Lopez pag hindi ko banggitin yung mga tulong na ginagawa rin namin sa OFW. Of course, DTI together with DOLE has this trabaho at negosyo at kabuhayan. Ano? So, aside from promoting investments in the countryside or in our community, meron din po tayong pagtulong sa mga MSME at saka sa livelihood. So, nakapaloob po rito yung ating mga assistance sa ating mga OFW, particularly yung pong hindi na planong bumalik sa ibang bansa. No? At dito pwede silang magtayo ng kanilang hanap buhay. So andito po meron kaming programa through the framework of 7Ms of the Secretary, and meron din po kaming financing through the SB Corporation. So marami pong mga naitutulong at marami pang mga nakaabang ang gobyerno para sa mga tulad ng mga OFW.
Thank you po, Yusek Vismonte of DTI. I think Secretary Biones would like to add something.
Meron akong pwede magdagdag sa project ng DOLE at saka ng DepEd.
Yes,
mayroong programa na initiated by DOLE na tinatawag sa Pinas, Ma'am at Sir Ka. Yung mga teacher na pumupunta sa abroad, nagtatrabaho ng kung ano-anong trabaho, ini-encourage na bumalik dito at mag-apply. Dahil ang sweldo ngayon ng public school teacher, mas mataas pa or equivalent to what they can earn abroad. At marami ilang libo na ang nag-respond sa program na yan. Yan ay initiated by DOLE na babalik yung ating mga teacherette, yung ating mga principal, yung ating mga school officials na nagtatrabaho abroad. Kasi sa Pilipinas, sir at ma'am sila.
Thank you po, Secretary Biones. It looks like the query last week opened the floodgates today. I think Chair Popeye would also like to answer.
Ang isang problema ho ng maraming OFW ay hindi sila makapag-practice ng kanilang profession doon sa pinuntahan nilang bansa. Dahil unang-una, kulang yung number of years of schooling nila, yan ho'y na-solve na ng K-12 doon sa mga bago. Yun hong mga luma, ibig sabihin nakatapos na, nakikipagtulungan ho tayo sa mga bansa para magkaroon ng mutual recognition of degrees. meron ho tayong activity ngayon with the New Zealand government para yung mga degree ng mga Pilipino na nakuha dito, automatic i-recognize doon para sila makakuha ng mga licensure exam sa mga profesyon. Malapit na hong matapos yan sa New Zealand. Kasama ho natin ang DOLE. Sa Middle East, ang number one problem, yung mga engineer natin na hindi makakuha ng exam dahil kulang yung bilang ng taon nila. So nakikipagtulungan ho tayo sa DOLE para yung ating mga inhinyero ay makapag-practice. Sa Canada, ang ating mga accountant at saka mga nurse, inaayos natin. Sa Scandinavian countries, mga nurse ang hindi makapag-practice. Alam na ho natin kung anong intervention na gagawin. Iniisa-isa natin kausapin yung kanilang education authorities para matanggap yung mga degree na nakuha ng mga Pilipino dito. Yan ho ang ambag ng CHED para sa mga OFW.
Thank you. Thank you po, Chairman Poy. Yusek Mercado po of OCS.
With the permission of the Cabinet Secretary, I just want to say that the CABSEC has just sent out a memorandum to the Executive Secretary recommending for the creation of the Cabinet Cluster for Overseas Filipinos, which will be co-chaired by the Department of Labor and Department of Finance. So hopefully by this month, we could already have that cluster working. Thank you.
Thank you.
May pahabol ako huli lang.
Yes.
Kapipirma ho ng Pangulo ng Balik Scientist Law. So yung mga magagaling na mga OFW natin na gustong magbalik sa Pilipinas at tumulong sa ating bayan, sila yung binibigyan ng insentibo ngayon para bumalik. Ito'y RA 11035. Kapipirma ho lang ng Pangulo noong June 15. So yan ho'y tulong natin sa mga OFWs na gustong tumulong sa kanilang bayan.
Dapat pala, Chair, Sir Secretary, na today po pumunta si Congressman Bertis para marinig po niya yung madami pong programa ng Duterte administration para sa ating mga overseas Filipino workers. At di pa po nagtatapos dyan, kasama po natin si Yusek Astravel ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Yusek Naik, you want to share something about ano pong pwede niyong gawin para sa mga OFWs natin?
Mag-share lang kami sa Commission on Filipinos Overseas kasi parang ang nakikinita dun sa discussion na parang puro problema yung OFs, no, na marami silang concern. Gusto ko lang i-recognize, especially nandito yata ngayon yung mga overseas Filipinos from different countries, kung pwede silang tumayo para kasi sila yung partner din natin nakalagay sa Philippine Development Plan under the Duterte administration that our OFs will be part of national development. And through the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, napakarami pong mga Pilipino natin sa ibang bansa nagbibigay ng ambag para sa ating mga kababayan dito, whether it is for livelihood, for small-scale infrastructure, for livelihood, for health, and also for scholarship. So yun lang yung natin na kasama natin ang ating mga OFs sa paglago ng ekonomiya ng Pilipinas.
Thank you po, Yusek Naki. And that ends our open forum. We are 1 hour over. We are overboard already. Let's all give a big hand to our panelists, secretaries, undersecretaries, chair. May we call on Secretary Silvestre Bello III and Cabinet Secretary Leoncio Evasco Jr. for a final group photo. Once again, let's give a big hand to our panelists today, which is the HDPR as well as the participatory governance.